Hey Trans Youth Channel, it is Nick here, and this week's topic is organized sports. So for me, my experience is definitely going to be a little different than trans women, but I've always been very active. Even now, I still work out 6 days a week. I take it very seriously. It's an important part of my health for me, and also to get a masculine body. Now I know it's a little opposite for trans women. It's very hard for you guys to stay active and not masculinize your body because of the way that you build muscle. For me, it was the exact opposite. It was something that I had to literally focus on. I've been lifting now heavy for about a year and almost 2 years. Anyways, so I've lost like 107 pounds, but then I gained back 5, so like 102 pounds since I started transitioning. And I started naturally. I didn't. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I didn't start with hormones until like 2 months ago, but I had a really good physique because I'd worked out steadily for a year or so. Anyways, organized sports. Let's see. I started discussing playing football with my father whenever I was in first grade. I had an older brother that played football, and I very much identified with that, so I wanted to play football. And I was really lucky because my dad always told me, whenever I was old enough, like 3rd grade, so in about 2 years, if I was still wanting to play, he would let me. And then in 3rd grade, I saw the sign-ups for football, and I was like, Dad, are we going to go and do this thing? So he signed me up, and I remember the first day I went out onto the football field, and I had my pads, and it felt so right, but I felt so out of place. Like, all the other boys were like running around, throwing football, and I was just kind of like standing off to the side. My dad was like urging me to go out there and like socialize with them and be a football player, but it was just, I knew there was something different about me, and it was that I was a girl, but I hadn't really realized that yet. So I started playing football, and the first year they put me on the bad team, but they just called it the gold team and the green team. I was on the green team, which wasn't the good one, but I started offense and defense and kickoff receive. And the next year I played, my 4th grade year, they put me on the gold team, and so I was a starter on the good team. And that trend continued up until like my 6th grade year, and then I actually had to switch towns that I was playing in because you have to play for the school that you go to, and so I had to switch teams, which was hard, and then I also had to navigate locker rooms, which was interesting in and of itself. I had to stand outside the guys' locker room until they made sure everybody was dressed, and then I could come in and hear like the speech or the talk or whatever, and then we'd go out to the field. I would get dressed in the women's locker room, and so I'd have my football pads there in the women's locker room, which our lockers were not equipped to hold shoulder pads and helmet and all my football stuff. But yeah, so I did that like every day of football practice. I would come in early whenever I was in 7th and 8th grade and get ready, and then wait for my team, and then we go out and we practice. And the first day of contact sport, my 7th grade year, all the guys had a bone to pick with me because I was the girl on the team, and they wanted to know what I was made of. And I don't blame them, Of course, it's like stereotypical male shit, but whatever. I was confident in my abilities. I was always strong for, like, biologically being female. So the first day of practice, they decided quite literally to put me on one side, and then they lined guys up because the guys just wanted to hit me. So they put me against the smallest guy on the team first. This school had never seen me play. They didn't know what I was capable of. We got down and we fired out, and I knocked him on his ass. And then everybody got riled up and, like all shocked that I could actually play a male sport. And then the next guy wanted to go, and the next guy. And about 10 guys later, the coaches were like, okay, like, you're done. We need to get on with practice. But there was definitely animosity towards me because I could perform in a male sport. And I ended up starting my 7th grade year. It was quite interesting because I started, like, my period. So I hit puberty. And, oh my God. It sucked. Like, emotionally, it was so hard to go out onto the field whenever you're emotional and your hormones are all over the place, and play a sport that's physically just draining, where you're slamming into people, and it does bruise your ego when you get knocked on your ass. So when you get knocked on your ass and you're like PMSing, instead of having a normal male response, which would have been like anger and aggression, not generalizing, but I mean, literally, it just would have been different. I would get upset and I would cry. And I wouldn't cry because I was hurt. I would cry because I was angry. So anyways, this like rivalry between me and this one guy on my team started. He didn't start offensive line or defensive line, and that hurt his feelings. And so he decided to like sucker punch me like every chance he got. There was one day on the line where I fired out and I was up against him, and I hit him, and he like knocked me back and then kicked me right in the stomach. And I was like, really? Like, how the fuck do you bring up your foot and kick me in the stomach in a sport of football and no coaches noticed magically? So I was like, okay, I'm going to take this onto myself. We get down on the line, and he's just talking shit. You fucking bitch, blah, blah, blah. You're a girl, you're this, and like, talking me down. So he fires out with his head down, and I just shove him down into the ground. And then he got really mad after that, and the next time he talked shit to me, like, I was done. So I grabbed the back of his helmet when he fired out low again, and the back of his shoulder pads, and I kind of like spun and just threw him. And the coaches took notice to that because it's not every day that somebody on an offensive line throws somebody across the field. And they decided that we needed to do bear crawls for the rest of practice. Anyways, typical football stories. So I played until my 9th grade year, and that's whenever I really saw the difference between me and men. I was feminizing, right? Getting more girly, I guess you could say. And the men were getting more masculine. They were hitting puberty, and that year alone, I worked out just as hard as them, but they increased their muscle mass and speed and strength like twofold, and I would work out just as hard as them. I just couldn't put on muscle the way they could. So the last game of my freshman year, I got caught in a pileup, and I ended up breaking my femur in 2 different places. When I broke my leg, my entire world kind of came crashing down around me. I was always physically active since the time I was born, and then all of a sudden I was stuck in a hospital room with 3 screws in my leg, and I had to rehab. And once I did finally rehab and started working out again, the screws were in wrong, so they had to take them back out. So it was another major surgery whenever I was like 14 or 15 years old. And it really fucked with all the female sports I played, because I did play basketball with girls, because I couldn't play football I couldn't play on the men's team because the same sport was offered for men and women. It's just that there was no contact sport offered for females at the same time that a contact sport was offered for males, and it's law that it has to be equal for males and females. So I could play on the males team because there was no contact sport like soccer offered at my school. Anyways, I did play basketball, and I threw shot put and discus in track. I never played volleyball because I was in football at that time, and I never played softball because I just didn't like it. Anyway, so that pretty much breaking my leg pretty much screwed my sports career. I'm sure I would have been in college with a scholarship somewhere because I did enjoy sports so much, but it was just too much for my body to handle at that age. So I went on to play my 10th grade year, and then I skipped my 11th grade year, and then my senior year I didn't play sports at all. I was too busy doing drugs and not taking care of myself. Anyways, I finally graduated high school, and I got into college, and I didn't play any sports in college, mainly because I couldn't afford to hold insurance, and you have to whenever you're in college. The last organized sport that I played was women's professional football. There's a league down here. It was the IWFL, then it was like the WFA, and then it's switched around a lot, but the team's name is the Dallas Diamonds, and it's in Dallas, Texas. It's a women's professional team. You have to be over the age of 18 to play, and you do have to carry insurance, but they're not that strict on it. Anyways, I played for them, and whenever I did play for them, it was a good team. It's just different playing sports with women than it is with men. There's a lot more camaraderie with men, I feel like, and I did not enjoy my football experience on a women's team. I did enjoy the football, but it wasn't the same for me. So I played sports out there with them, and I went through a whole season, and I ended up tearing my ACL and my meniscus on the leg that I had not broken. So I injured my other leg, and when I did that, I was done with sports, especially contact sports. My body just can't handle it anymore, and so I just stick to lifting and being active and working on my physique now. So no more organized sports for me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy. I kind of threw a lot of information at you. This is a really long video, but it's because I actually have something to say about the topic. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, hit me up below. And yeah, peace.